Hey guys, I'm back with another video. Today I'll be doing what if Shinra had health ring. I promised to do this when I got my software back up. So yeah. What if Shinra? Yeah, basically this is what's going on today. So, so I left off at Shinra. Everyone coming back to the eighth. All of that, right? And yeah. So let's go back, and we left off with Arthur appearing in the first appearing to the fire force. He knocks on the door and is wondering if this is the place because he had a picture of the place before, but now it's totally different. He knocks on the door and Captain Obi opened the door. He welcomed Arthur and everything happened for their canon. But let's skip at least when they came back from the first mission that they had. Well, first mission that Shinra had with the 8th. After that, Shinra told Captain Obi that he had a power. It was a second generation. No, he's admitted. He was a first generation. I mean, not a first. That's no, Inferno. Inferno is the first generation. Second generation is the person that control flames. Third generation, the mystery that can only control their own flames, and a fourth is an Adola burst user. So it's not Captain Obi. Captain Obi has the third generation, right? So he goes up to Captain Obi and does exactly what he did to Iris and hit Captain Obi in his left chest, near to his heart. Then Obi's hands get engulfed with ashes, while ashes fall from Obi's hand, or Captain Obi's hand, and his leg, and some ashes come out of his mouth. Shinra then analyzes what his powers are and says that he can emit ash, mostly ignite his ash and create stuff out of his ash. Captain Obi thinks of two trench knives and two sharp knives made out of ash appear in Captain Obi's hands. He tries to ignite the daggers or knives or trench knives, and the tips of them becomes flame. He tries something. He turns it into like a pistol or a gun or whatever, and then he shoots a flare bullet out of the gun or the pistol, whatever you want to use. So Captain Obi has a third generation power. Shinra, everyone's excited to see Captain Obi's powers, and he goes off to train. And no, he doesn't really need to carry around that much stuff, but his strength is already immaculate. But anyways, this is where he's still wearing his boots, but he has on a orange pants with a white shirt and the orange shirt tied around his waist. So he's not wearing his shirt, but yeah, he's walking around and he's going for a long sleeve shirt, a skin tight long sleeve shirt from his room, because Iris got concerned that he never covers his arms, and she was just worried that if his fire immunity goes here where one day and a fire lands on his hand, it's gonna hurt him. So she told Shinra to get that, and since it's his wife or girlfriend or whatever you want to use, he's gonna listen, and he goes and he gets a skin tight shirt, puts on the shirt, then puts on the white shirt that he has on now, and just starts walking around. This is where he comes in contact with Arthur, and then this is where they go and fight on the roof. But this time, Shinra wouldn't talk as much, and because he has that bored personality, and the reason why they wouldn't be friends, or Shinra doesn't or not Shinra, but Arthur doesn't like Shinra, is mainly because Shinra doesn't believe in heroes, and he doesn't believe in hero nor knights, because if the hero existed, his parents wouldn't be dead. If a hero existed, a lot of things would happen in this war that went down. He believes in saviors, but he does not believe in heroes or knights. He just thinks there are old story fields or old jobs that people had, but it's just pointless now. And Arthur doesn't like Arthur's perception on basically the world, so they are always in conflict with each other. So like yeah, so he doesn't like Shinra's concept on the world. But what can he do? So they start fighting, and like well, no, Asta still has his like pistol on his like hip, and yeah, he wouldn't use it momentarily all the time, but he would use it if he had to, but he will not use it in this point. They start fighting, and Shinra obviously has the advantage because he can catch he can actually touch Arthur's sword or Arthur's plasma blade. You can actually do that and just like hold it and just like beat him around. Because remember, fire and no contact of heat can hurt Shinra. So, yeah. So he's kind of like dogging Arthur right now. But like, Iris calms Shinra down and tells him it's not worth it to stop fighting. It's a new recruit, so just let it go. And Shinra does as she wanted him to do because, like I said, that is his wife. So, our girlfriend, whatever you want to use, okay. This is where the voice cap. I don't know, our second in command, whoever he was, of second in command, starts talking and tells Maki to fight Shinra and Shinra and Arthur, right? Anyways, so Shinra goes, right? He catches no, they're fighting Mogi, right? Maki, yeah, Maki. They're fighting Maki and Maki runs towards both Shinra and Arthur. Shinra is having a very hard time dealing with Maki, but Shinra also has army training, along with basic judo, karate, and multiple martial arts under his belt. So he would easily be able to overpower Maki. And Maki could not control Shinra's flames because Shinra's flames are hotter than the freaking sun. So hotter than the surface of the sun, basically, and way hotter than the surface of the sun. Because remember, it's basically Amaterasu and what's called it now, cremation. So it's like obviously hotter than both of those two things. So Shinra was easily able to overpower Maki and kind of like judo flip her on the ground and was able to beat her, to be honest. Now this is where the rookie games start and the juicy stuff start because from there is basically filler content, just explaining stuff to people and all of that stuff, right? Then it comes to the day of the rookie exams or rookie whatever. The eighth would go to the thing, but here's a change in what happens to the original canon. Instead of Shinra actually going over to the first captains, he would actually go to him because he'll talk to him later. Ask something special for that. He would go to Tamaki, and he would go behind Tamaki and hug her from. Anyways, would go and where was it? He would hug Tamaki from behind, right? Tamaki would be freaked out and start trying to push off Shinra, and then she would realize it was Shinra, and then turn around and kiss Shinra because, like I said, that's his wife. Well, that's his other wife. So like, does it really matter? She would kiss Shinra, and yeah, all of that would happen, and then he would go over to the first the captain of the first squad thingy. When he goes over to him, he actually says uncle, and yeah, I said that, uncle. And this time, he would have a bat and he would hug the first. Now, let me explain. The captain of the first, Mr. Burns or whatever I know his last name is Burns, like Burns. That's his last name. Burns would have been kept in contact with us with Shinra, not one because he had an Adolabers, and two that he really felt sad for the boy, and they kept in contact, and Shinra kept in contact even when Shinra was in the orphanage for that short period of time. Yeah, he talked to him a lot. So they do what you do with that. Anyways, Shinra goes and this is where they start like the exams. Shinra would do his plan like he had a cannon and just fly up to the roof. This he would be wearing the attire that I told you in the last video, but it'd be kind of different because he would not have a long sleeve on and not just be wearing a shirt with no undergarment. So he'd be wearing a skin tight long sleeve shirt. So his arms would be covered, right? So Shinra would make it up to the top, and this is where he would find Joker. If you remember, his official name is not Joker, but he goes by Joker, right? They would talk to Joker, and Joker would get to the fact that there's corruption in the fire force, and there is that Shinra's brother is alive. Now Shinra would be happy at hearing his brother is alive, and not surprised that there was corruption in the fire force, mainly because he's already scouted that out a long time ago. Remember the first time? Remember when I told you that those army men, the secret squad that we met in season 2? If you have not gotten in season 2, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But the secret men thingy, too. And I figured out the old man's name is Raffles the Third. Yeah, I finally figured it out. It's Raffles, but yeah. So Shinra wouldn't be surprised, but he would decline that he doesn't want to betray his friends, and he would tell him that he knows and he will take his advice, and he'll just be careful what he does, and don't get too invested into the fire force because he knows there is corruption in the fire force. This is where then Joker would understand where Shinra was coming from and tell Shinra that he's gonna have to escape, so he's gonna have to blow up the building. So Shinra says, I'll just capture everybody before everything could go down. So Shinra then spreads out his fire ability and encased everyone in the building in a cocoon of black and blue flames, or his hell flame. Then Joker would explode the building and he would escape. Everyone would rush over to the building because it fully exploded this time. There's only a few pillars that's just up there. There's a few pillars that's still standing, but it's completely broken now, but yeah. So they would go up there and everyone would see everyone encased with a black and blue flame, and they would see Shinra with his eyes fully red. Now remember, when Shinra gets excited or something, or more or less scared or afraid or something, he got excited because that was some power that he just saw, and he hasn't really got a challenge since the day he got his fire. His fire has always been stronger than everyone he met. So a challenge is not that often to Shinra because no one can technically completely beat him without outsmarting him, and even that is pretty hard because remember, Shinra isn't a genius, so outsmarting him wouldn't work. Beating him is practically impossible, but there is one weakness that Shinra has, and that's his 3 wives. Yeah, that's why I gave him that technically, but since he has fire movement or fire teleportation, whichever you want to use, it kind of wounds the point that I gave him 3 wives, but I kind of glossed over that for a bit, but who cares anyways? I could just do plot and say that he's low on stamina, so he can't use it. But damn it, I can't do that because he's never low on stamina. Damn it. Anyways, Shinra would go and yeah, he would go and like basically yeah, like that's all would happen. He would say goodbye to Maki and give Tamaki a kiss and leave because yeah. So they would go back, and Shinra would go back to the 8th and go to bed, where Iris also sleeps with Shinra. Nothing happens because remember, Iris is a nun. She cannot be having that until she's married. So get your mind out the gutter. But Iris sleeps in Shinra's bedroom, which is also her bedroom, because her stuff is also in there. So yeah. So Shinra is like. He drops on the bed and Iris comes in, takes off her gear and lays on the bed with him. Now, this would start off from canon because originally he told no one what happened between him and Joker. But since this is his wife and what his is hers and what hers is his, and what they should not keep any secrets because Shinra abides by that, and he shouldn't keep any secrets from Iris, and Iris shouldn't keep any secrets from Shinra because they're gonna get married. Shinra would tell Iris about his brother because he never told Iris, Hibana, nor Tamaki about his brother. Well, Tamaki already knew about his brother because Tamaki is a childhood friend of Shinra, technically. So let's be honest here. It's Shinra. Like, Tamaki's Tamaki. Let's just get off of that. But let's get back into the video. I've been rambling. Okay, so you would tell Iris about his brother. He would just tell her about that. Then he would pause for a bit, and Iris would notice the pause. And then Shinra would tell her that his brother is most likely alive. And Iris would be surprised, and Iris would ask Shinra if he knows where he is, and Shinra would tell her no. And she would start to explain what happened before the fire, and tell her what his encounter with his mother and who gave him the rings in the first place. She would understand that this was once his mother's ring and how precious it was to him, and that he chose her to be his wife because he loved her. Not because he wanted to get it over and done with, because then he wouldn't give her this ring. You get what I'm saying? So like, at first she thought that he was just trying to get it over and done with, because she was kind of having doubts if Shinra actually loved her. But now she understands that Shinra fully loves her because he gave her a ring that his mother gave him before, that she can understand that is really precious to Shinra, because again, that's his mother's ring, and you understand where I'm coming from now, because I just I don't get in that emotional shit that often, and now I'm getting into it. It's just not like that stuff for me, but like it's not on that ecstasy stuff, right? So then we skip to the courtroom. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. We would see the man getting prosecuted and said not guilty. This is where he would go and combust into flames, and he would become an Inferno. But the only difference being that when he became an Inferno, he did not lose his sanity. He could control himself, and he would start to do whatever he was doing with I think it was the judge, I don't know, and Shinra. And then the 8th, well, not the 8th, because Shinra saw this, and the 8th would be called. So Shinra would rip off his, he would always have on his, when he's always doing his work, he would always have on his Fire Force gear. So his Fire Force gear, and not his at the 5th, at the 8th, you know, that orange jumpsuit thing, he wouldn't have that. So yeah. So Shinra would he would, you know what I mean, he would go over, right? And he would completely box this Inferno out. But remember, he would not need to wait on a sister because he's a priest. And when the like Inferno started to like beg for us to let the priest come and put him to rest, Shinra wouldn't. First, Shinra never falls for that trick, and second, Shinra wouldn't even get on that shit. He would tell him that I'm a priest. I trained to be a priest, so I can deliver you a prayer, then kill you. And it's not that hard, right? And he would be like shaking now because there's no excuse for him to like take him now. So he would rush towards Shinra. Now Shinra would kick the ever living shit out of him, and he would tear off his arm with just a kick. Now this is where the eighth or Hibana would come. When seeing Hibana, he would kind of smirk, and Hibana did not realize this was Shinra yet, and like the I can't remember the girls, the girl Fire Force fighters, those blonde haired ones would come and try to like pin down Shinra, but Shinra wasn't having none of that, and he would tell them to bow, Sugayomi style, bow, and they would bow before him. Like, I remember that technique. I'm not just getting rid of it, making him use it one time, and then Shinra would appear behind Hibana and bite on her ear. Hibana would kind of moan from this, and then Shinra would say, "That's how you treat your husband? Damn, I feel hurt." And then she would realize who this was. She would say Shinra, and she would turn around and kiss Shinra. Cause, like I said before, that's her husband, boyfriend, whatever you want to call it. Now, everything would go down to canon, but they would have that squabble, and that guy with the exploding bubblegum guy, and Shinra would just appear behind him and just like punch the Evelyn shit out of him. So he wouldn't be talking anytime soon. Like, he wouldn't talk any smack anytime soon. So yeah, and Hibana would apologize for his actions and just yeah. Now Iris would still leave and go to Hibana, and everything from there would happen. Well, Hibana wouldn't be so rough on Iris that she wasn't canon, but she would tell her that why would she still want to be a nun and all of that shit. Shinra, but Iris, like I said, doesn't have that devotion to the church like she had in canon, because she knows that church was corrupt also. So she kind of doesn't believe in the sun god, and like kind of does believe in the sun god at the same time. And she tells Hibana this, and Hibana's like and Hibana would be like, yada yada yada, I think, probably. And Shinra would appear because it's Shinra. Like, he can just fire movement towards Iris and not give a shit. He just used fire movement to appear right next to Iris. Iris like had her like clothes burnt and stuff, if you remember. It was pretty sexy. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna cap. It was pretty good. It was pretty good to see. But like, so Shinra would see. So they would start talking, and this is where a bolt of like electricity kind of hit Hibana, and Hibana's eyes would go dark and start fighting Shinra. Now everything would go to like canon, but if you know who I'm talking about, I'm just gonna give you a little hint. The white clad. So if you know who can use electricity in the white clad, comment down below. If you know who it is, comment down below. Electric girl. If you know, you know. If you know her though. If you don't comment anything. Or no, actually don't comment stuff because I really want to read it, but like nothing related to that. So like yeah. So Shinra would defeat Hibana like he did in canon, and yeah, I don't really want to go through him like beating the ever living shit out of a girl. So Well, he didn't beat the ever living shit out of her. He tried to be gentle, in his own way. But like, yeah, those the 8th and the 5th would still have a party and all of that bullshit, and they would get recommended to go to like they would do the recruit exchange or recruitment training thing, and they would go to the first company. But that's what we're gonna end out this video, guys. How long has this video been? Like, but like, yeah, see you guys. Like, that's the end of the video. See ya.